So the marathon analogy, the reason why black people aren't getting anywhere in this country. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason, and I want to always say thank y'all for joining me today. Now, I like to always use analogies and examples, but basically for the same reasons why Jesus did. He spoke in parables for basically, in other words, to give a story that has something to do with the issue or the point so that people can have understanding. But anyway, I use the marathon analogy all the time. And well, the reason why I use this analogy is because it is an economic situation. It's about economics. And it just shows that, economics in America is like a marathon. It's an endless marathon. It's not a sprint. And it's constantly ongoing. It never ends. But anyway, could you picture being in a marathon? And it's just a mile marathon. And the object of this marathon is just to cross the finish line. And if you cross the finish line, well, you get $1 million. And there are people waiting at the end of at the finish line, waiting to cut checks for anyone who crosses this line and finish it, who finish the marathon. And like any situation in America, everyone's not going to start off equal because everyone's aren't equal. Anytime you live in a free economic society, when people have the freedom and rights to achieve as much as less as or less as they want, there's going to be people who are going to achieve more, and there's going to be people who are going to achieve less. So there will be people who have more and have access to more, and who's going to be better off than other people. Trump's children were far better off than the majority of the children and really in the world. And you can say the same thing about, when Jordan, his children, when they were young, they had advantages that most other children in the country don't have or didn't have. And same for, say, Kobe or LeBron or somebody. Their children will have more advantages in life by the fact that, well, they're rich. So in this marathon, everybody's not going to start at the same spot. There's going to be people who are going to start in different positions. But however, it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter if you have to walk the whole mile, or if you have to walk 3 feet. All you have to do is cross the finish line, and you get your check. Now, the average starting point of a white person would be a half a mile in this marathon. Let's say, and the average starting point of a black person would be 3/4 of a mile. Now, if you were in this scenario, what would you do, regardless of who you are, your skin color? Well, anybody that operates based upon any type of logic and reason, any common sense, would cross the finish line and get their check. They wouldn't be concerned about who else is in a marathon, where they start in relation to them. They're just going to go walk whatever distance they have to, cross that finish line, and get their check. Now, can you picture a bunch of blacks who are in this marathon, and they will be crying and complaining because the starting point of a black person is behind that of a white person, right? Now, would you tell these black folks, try to convince these black folks that it really doesn't matter? All you have to do is just cross that finish line, you get your check. And you can imagine, if you were a black person telling other black people this, they will call you, the typical race hustler insults, coon, Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus, Oreo, and all other nonsense, by telling them common sense. And then you can imagine the race hustlers, right? All these race hustlers out here, they cross the finish line and get their $1 million check. And then they'll turn right around, come back in the race, and keep all the blacks angry and enraged about quote unquote racism and anything that they can find to cry racism about. They'll keep black folks angry and enraged and keep black people fixated on quote unquote being oppressed, and keep their attention and focus off of just completing the race and getting their money. And that's what these race hustlers do. That's one of the problems, the biggest problems that I have with these race hustlers is they just keep black people stupid. And then you'll see a bunch of black people walking in circles, right? Which if they're walking in circles, that means they're doing absolutely everything that is necessary to prosper, to complete this marathon, to get their $1 million check. But they're wasting time walking in circles, right? And you see these people like, wait, why don't y'all, instead of y'all wasting your time walking in circles, which means they're expending all the energy it takes to cross the finish line, but they're wasting their time walking in circles. And you try to convince them, why don't y'all just walk straight toward the finish line and finish it if you're going to be walking? Might as well. Why waste your time walking in circles? And this is what black folks doing economically in America for the most part. And not all blacks, of course. And then the worst part about it, the absolute worst part, you'll see immigrants just coming into this country. They'll be dropped off anywhere in the marathon. And they will walk past the black folks, crying and complaining and walking in circles and finish the race and get their check, you know what I'm saying? And they'll have some immigrants who probably have to walk a mile and a half, but they do it and get the same check that everybody else is getting who finished the race. And you look at the black folks and say, well, what about all these immigrants? How the hell they're coming here and finishing a marathon and y'all are still here crying about being oppressed? So their response would be, well, they weren't robbed of their culture and their language, as if you need any type of culture to have enough common sense to walk your ass across the damn finish line and get your check, But anyway, this is the perfect example of black people in America today. Most blacks, that is, are so busy focused on being oppressed and crying about racism and white supremacy and crying about the irrelevant history of America instead of taking all that energy and effort and prospering. And again, the reason why I like the marathon analogy is because it's a perfect example of economics. Economics in America is an ongoing thing. It's not a sprint where you sprint for 10 to 15 seconds and then the race is over. This is an ongoing marathon. People get in an economic situation, economics, and they'll fall out. And you look at the millionaires in America, the people who are making who are millionaires, who are in the top 1% of income, they're people who are constantly getting in and out. So it's not, once you do something and thus you finish. So that's just representing economics and why black people will never get anywhere in this country. And it's not that we can't. There's no black person who in a marathon who can say or give you any evidence of who or anybody that's stopping them from crossing the finish line. They just choose not to because they focus on just idiotic nonsense. But anyway, that's the marathon analogy, and it just makes perfect sense. But anyway, as always, y'all, until next time.